Good evening, good afternoon, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming to hang out with us. We've got it's been a long couple of days. It's been a weekend. You know, there's some people have been in the cold, some people have been in the hot. We've got a lot of fun things we need to be talking about right now. I hope some people have some pictures to share. And we are joined today by Mello from OCD Fishing. We've already had like this awesome conversation behind the scenes. We're going to take that on live now. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into things. I'll let these gentlemen say hi and do their introductions before we do all that. Mello, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, sir?
Awesome. So, Mello Palacios. I'm actually a native from Laredo, Texas. So here in Texas, so border town, literally right on the border. I've been living in San Antonio now. I think I told John the other day, about 18 years now. Grew up fishing with my dad and my grandfather. They used to take us to local lakes. And ever since I moved to San Antonio, got my first boat up here. I've gone through 3 boats now. Been doing a lot of fishing at the local lakes and the local rivers. And probably about, I want to say 6 years ago, I started dipping my toes in the guiding business, doing it part-time when I'm off from work. And it's been real fun. And I've met a lot of real interesting families, made a lot of new friends, and a lot of connections. So it's been fun.
Yep. My name is John. Oh, wait a minute. I've been here already. So, yeah, hello, everybody.
I might have done that a little backwards. He's making fun of me.
Yeah, I can hear it. It's been a tough Tuesday for me today. I was out at Camp Bullets training some soldiers, so I've been out in it, and I am wore out. But I'm glad to be here now with all of you. And, you know, we got 3 up here on the panel, but one of them's a guest, so we're missing one. We're down Mr. Grant McIntosh, and nothing horrible. His son has a basketball game tonight, so they're watching the basketball game, which is a good priority for them to have. And good luck, Kyler. Hope you guys kick some butt.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to hearing good news about that. I wish they did a little bit better job with the live streams of those basketball games. I'd be watching them. I was trying to watch them. I think it was like last season or whatever they were doing that. I'm a big fan. And yeah, Kyler, good luck, man. I want to hear good things.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to discuss. We're going to be talking about you a lot tonight because I've got some questions for you. Your guide service. I'm very curious about that. Where do you guide? You got like I assume I'm going to assume. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm going to assume you got a 6-pack license. Tell me where you guide and what can we expect to get when we're fishing with you? Because I'm already taking notes when we're going to be doing this.
So a 6-pack guide. I'm not sure what a 6-pack guide is. Does that mean coast? Is that
yeah? That's a coast
license.
Guard.
Yeah, that's not a that doesn't count for freshwater too.
No. So actually, I'm a freshwater guide. So I don't have my captain. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's where my confusion was. Sorry.
You're bringing it up. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that's where the confusion
so I'm a freshwater guide. I was.
Go ahead.
So I guide out of, so here in San Antonio, there's 2 lakes primarily, but I tend to stick more to one lake, and it's Calaveras Lake. It's south of San Antonio, kind of like in the Floresville area. It is what they call a power plant lake. So Calaveras Lake and Browning Lake, since they are both power plant lakes, it's not nuclear, it's coal. But because of that, the water stays warm year round. And Texas Parks and Wildlife, back in the, I want to say late 70s, they tested putting different types of saltwater fish in there to see what would thrive. And they tried a lot of different things. I think they did tarpon, they did corvina, black drum, they did redfish. Yeah, they did a lot of different things. And my understanding, corvina did stick as well, but it's my understanding that the corvinas were just killing everything in the lake, so they kind of stopped stocking those. But the redfish is what tend to hit the best. So basically,
freezing up on us, bro.
That you can catch fresh saltwater redfish at. So that's primarily what we target. Say like mid-March to about late October, and then it's also got a very healthy population of blue catfish. Not as much as it's had in years past. Me and John were talking about that the other day. It seems like we're catching a lot less of them, but the quality is still pretty good. But yeah, they still have a pretty good, healthy population of blue cats. And then outside of that, during the wintertime, we typically will go down to a town called 3 Rivers. and there's a big lake down there called Choke Canyon State Park, and so we will fish out of the Frio River for white bass. But this year, I have to assume it has to be with the warm weather. The white bass have still not been going down the Frio like they have in years past. So the ones that I'm catching now, we're still having to fish from in the main lake, which is kind of odd. Usually by like say December to March, we're just nailing them in the rivers. And this year, I mean, we still have guys giving fishing reports as late as a couple of days ago, and they still are not catching them in the river at all. So not sure what's going on with that.
I'm curious with Calaveras, and Mr. Chaz Heyman in the chat down here has the, I hope I pronounced that right. If I don't, whatever it does. But got a question for you. What's the biggest red you've pulled out of Calaveras, and what's the average size you typically see? You hear me all right?
Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
It happens.
My audio went off. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not.
We can hear you.
Us? Yeah, we
can hear me.
Right.
Yeah. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you guys at all. Let me try. Yeah.
While we're waiting on the audio issues to get through, Mr. Covolubius, you've been to a Calaveras. What's the biggest? Have you gotten reds over there? And if you have, what are the sizes that you got?
I'm gonna try and
Even
reconnect.
Mr. Martin and NBA, gentlemen, always
One
a pleasure
second.
to see you guys.
Happens every show.
Yep.
That's how you know we're live, baby.
Exactly. That's how you know it's a show, dude. Live happens. That's the way it goes sometimes.
That's right.
Dennis, it's going pretty good here, man. Been a rough couple of days. I'm not gonna lie. I've been all over Texas the last 2 weeks. Can you hear us? Okay.
I hear you.
Yep, we hear you. All right.
Oh Lord. Well, y'all can hear me, but I sure can't hear you. So I don't know what the heck's going on with this thing.
We've
Settings, audio.
we had a doctor's appointment in
says I'm
Houston
on.
that we had to go to. We
I
had
don't know what's
another
going
thing in
on.
San Antonio.
I'm gonna have to turn this damn
Been to
thing off.
Waco and Corpus Christi in the last 2 weeks.
Man,
We've
you've
been
been
all
all
over
over
the
the
map.
place.
Yeah. Between doctor's appointments, visiting family, and I forget. I don't even remember why we were in San Antonio, but we had to. Oh, it was a secret. That's why I can't talk about San Antonio. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I mentioned it, forgetting why I was there.
So now you got to hush on it.
Yeah, because of people who may be listening in. We'll let everybody know whenever it's no longer a secret, but just tonight
It's
we
not
can't
top
talk
secret
about it.
anymore.
It's an ongoing secret. Maybe.
Yeah, they
we're
still,
very
hey Ben, they still have a pier out there. So there's a area to bank fish that's the park, right? And they've got a pier that you can fish from, and then a lot of folks going out on boats like I do, and like Mello when he's guiding there. But yeah, last year he was on the Frio. See, a lot of folks, if you're talking white bass run in this area, everybody thinks of Oasis, right? Off of 59 Bridge or Airport, and right now I think they are catching some whites down there now. But he fishes the Frio, so he puts in right where the Frio River comes into Choke Canyon, and then he fishes that area. And last year he was killing them, but like he said a little bit ago, this year they're just not there. Good.
I'm good, man. I had to restart. I had to restart all this stuff. Yeah. So like I was saying, John, when I talked to him last, I don't know what's going on. The only difference we can see is that we have not had any cold weather. We've had like little spells of cold weather, and it still has been enough to drop the water temp. The last time I tried the river, the water temp was 52 degrees, which should be perfect.
Yeah.
And me and another buddy of mine, David, he's a guy that guides out there also. And if ever I do good, like if I catch 50, he catches 100. I mean, he's just nailing them. And me and him went on his boat, and we went from where we normally launch. It's a spot called 99 Bridge. We launched from 99 Bridge. We went to the mouth of the river, and then we went all the way south to the San Miguel boat ramp, which is like 6-7 miles down.
Yeah.
Through all of that, we caught one.
Holy smokes!
One fish.
That
is it. And so I had some guys this past weekend. They wanted to go, and I kind of warned them. I said, "Man, if we fish the river, I'm almost guaranteeing we're not going to catch anything. But if we have some good weather and if we don't have enough wind, I said we can try the main lake, try it out, see how we do, and we ended up pretty good. I think we caught like 40. We kept 32, but we also got a 32-pound buffalo carp, which was a surprise catch. Yeah,
That'd be fun to reel in.
oh yeah, especially he actually foul hooked it on the top dorsal fin.
Oh shit! Yeah,
On a little
really
treble.
fun to reel in.
On a little,
How
yeah,
much
little
of a
treble.
conversation? How much of a conversation do you have when that happened? When you hooked up, how much of the conversation went from "I'm snagged" to "it must be this fat catfish" to cussing? You know what I mean? Like whenever
Yes.
you do that, you run the
Yep.
gamut in all the things that you have to say
Yep.
about that. What were all
Yep.
the options you went through on that one?
So when it first hit, so we're spot locked with the iPilot, and there's almost no wind. If there was wind, I could maybe see the boat moving, and maybe if it took out a little bit of drag, I could say, you're probably snagged. But there was no wind, so he hooked up, and he's like, I'm hooked up, and I'm like, all right, cool. But I turn, and the rod is all the way down, and initially I was like, well, you're stuck, but then I saw the line start to move, and I was like, oh, you're not stuck. Okay, great. I was like, what? And it's peeling drag, and for the white bass, I have the drag set just enough. It's not going to pull any drag, and this thing was taking drag. So I was like, okay, you're right, not a white bass. So I started thinking. I said, well, maybe it's a largemouth, because we've caught some and they take some drag out, but they stopped fighting real quick, and they kept fighting. I was like, well, maybe it's a yellow cat. So like, okay, let's go with that. He's fighting and he's fighting. I mean, it took him like 12 minutes to get it in, and we probably didn't see any of the fish till about 6 minutes in, and so he's still fighting. I thought, well, maybe it's a gar, because there's some big alligator gars in that lake. And finally, he got it semi close to the surface, and I just saw like the big like paddle tail, and I was like, oh no, that's a carp, man. You got a big ass carp on there. And we thought initially he was hooked on the mouth, and he kept fighting it. And a couple of minutes later, when we finally got it close enough, I was like, oh crap, you're hooked on the top fin. So I was like, so that's why the fight was even harder. He wasn't even hooked in the mouth; he was just hooked on the fin.
Yeah, you're dragging him almost backwards on that. But a funny thing you never see, and I do this. I don't know if anybody else does this, but if I do something like this, I'm totally open and honest. Like I'll let you know, and I do it, so I'll admit to it. But so whenever we hook into something weird like that, like if you foul hook something. I got this from my family. It just happens to happen. It turns out like this on camera, but I got this from my family. We call our shots. Like when we're fishing, we hook into something. That's a redfish. You're not good at what you do unless you can call your shots. Yeah. So in a circumstance like that, we're calling it for like back to back to back. So that's a kingfish. Nope. Foul hooked redfish. Nope. Stingray. Like all down the list, and then when we get to actually editing the video, we edit out all the ones that it's not. So it looks like we're calling our shots already.
So at Choke Canyon, I don't know if you ever fished there. I mean, they actually do have a bigger variety of fish than say Calaveras Lake. Calaveras Lake, it's either catfish or redfish. It's one or the other.
Some hybrids, but not many.
So yeah, I haven't caught a hybrid out of Calaveras in about 5 years. So it's been years since I got one out of there. But choke, yeah, I mean, it could be long-nosed gar, spotted gar, alligator gar, buffalo carp, gaspergoo, because we got a big old gaspergoo 2 trips ago. Alligator. Hey, there's gators in there. I mean,
they're there.
I mean, it's a large variety. Largemouth bass, and you got white bass, you got yellow cats, which you don't have at Calaveras Lake, blue catfish. I mean, you have a much bigger variety. But at the lake, there's times I take people out and we're drift fishing for catfish. And we were for the most part, I'm using chicken breast, and it's happened I can count it. It's happened 5 times. We're drifting for catfish, we're catching catfish or whatever, and one hits and it just starts taking line. And my guys are like, "Oh, it's a big catfish." And I'm like, "Nope, that's a redfish. Yep. It's a damn red. You already know." And they're like, "No, it's a big catfish." I'm like, "Nope, it's a redfish." Big catfish are fun, but they don't take drag like that. And so when it starts running, you're like,
fight down. Where at red, we'll all of a sudden take off one way and then go the other way.
You get a bit of a linear direction on them.
Yeah. So it's real fun.
Similar with the catfish here.
Yeah.
I say here, you're actually fishing in my backyard, like to an extent. I've never done Brawn Egg or Calaveras or Choke Canyon. I've never done any of those. I live in Beeville, so I'm
Right
just
there.
outside Three Rivers. I don't know why I don't do that. It's because I have no experience. It's because I need to get in there. I need a guide, somebody to show me what I need to be doing. I would like to get into some white bass.
All three of us should just go fishing. I keep telling John. I've known him for I don't know how long.
I know.
He said no.
I've been saying the same thing. I've been saying the same thing. He's never gone fishing with me, except at the beach. He's never.
I was going to say we've been
lakes.
fishing together like 3 or 4 times now, Stanley.
At the
just
beach,
not on
it's
the
not
boat.
the same. It's not as fun.
At the pier or the jetties, not the pier.
I don't ever do good at the coast on the shoreline. I never do great. And when I go fishing out of the bay, I don't do good either. I was telling John that if we go offshore, yeah, you know, some guys gave me some sunken shrimp boat coordinates, and you know we do pretty good there. But if I ever fish the bay, I honestly don't go enough times to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
So we basically just go out and we still catch fish, but it's not what we're targeting. So
I'm in the same boat with you on that one. Like I'm the exact opposite to where I can do okay at the coast. I'm less good in the bays. I'm learning it. Less good though. But like the lakes is just, you know, that's where I'm learning. So
yeah.
You know, trading off information like that is something I would dearly love to do. Ben Covarubius in the chat down here says, to anyone who's eaten both fresh and salt redfish, are there any differences to taste? And I'm going to tack onto that saying, next time I get a redfish, next time you get one in freshwater, save it, because I'd like to do a catch and cook, like, you know, do it together.
To me, there is.
Go ahead. Yeah. So John says there is. Me, I don't taste much, but typically, for the most part, I'm probably frying it. But my wife, like you were saying earlier, behind the, you know, when we were backstage, how you don't have much of a palate. My palate's so. My wife's got a much better palate. She can eat something and she can tell you like all the different spices and you know ingredients that kind of went in it. I can't tell you that. I can either tell you I like it or I don't. I mean that's about it. But so she's had freshwater and she's had saltwater redfish, and she says there's definitely a difference. But I can't tell.
Yeah, to me the freshwater redfish is a little more fishy than the saltwater redfish for whatever reason.
But they're safe to eat. I gotta remind everybody about they're safe to eat. That's always a topic of conversation in fishing forums around here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, we were talking when I was talking about the palate backstage. We were talking about like my taste for alcohol. But you're probably right about that, to where like my taste for alcohol is a result of my lack of like, you know, a palate for flavors in general. I'm not going to lie, that may be a case. So on our channel, we eat a lot of stuff that people wouldn't normally eat, and that may be why. So when we do that, for anybody in the chat who knows, if you want in behind the scenes, when I'm sitting there and I'm eating something that you're kind of like, man, you're not supposed to be eating those. That's how I get away with doing it. I can't taste it very well. That jellyfish, all I know is that thing was a slimy bunch of nothing.
Hold on, guys. Pizza's here. How's it going, sir?
Yeah, bring them on.
Thank
Pizza.
you.
Pizza time.
Thank you. And thank you, sir.
Good night. There. We got J&C No Limits. We got Small Water Charters. Good to see you, folks.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, guys. Yeah, really appreciate y'all. Y'all are like humming over here. It's hard to keep up with everything.
Mark J. Larson, he's still he's been tearing up them coyotes. I guess the season's over now, Mark. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's over now.
Yeah, we'll chat about that. I wouldn't mind getting into some crappie, and I'm gonna need somebody to I'm gonna need a charter to do it. So
I don't know much. I'm not good on crappie. I've never really tried it. Well, I got some friends that do crappie fishing, but yeah, more so the white bass is probably better for me.
I really want to get into like some of the freshwater trout too. That's the thing that I'm most kind of not most, but that's one that I really want to get into is freshwater trout.
Yep. But yeah, man, I wouldn't mind us all going on a fishing trip.
Yeah,
I love it. I love to fish. I mean, all I need is someone to say, "Hey, let's go fishing. Let's go fish." That's how I started the guiding thing. I was saying, John. So when I got my boat, for years, I had a 16-foot Alumacraft boat, and I had that for like 8 years, and then I got my 18-foot Carolina skiff. And a lot of times I was going by myself, and I didn't, I mean, I'm fine with that, but I would post on fishing forums, and I'd be like, hey, I'm going to the lake. Who wants to go? And just I started taking random people, and that's kind of how I kind of got into the guiding, because I was like, well, I could take random people and have good conversations, and I'm pretty engaged with them, and still produce some fish. And so that's kind of how I got into it. But I mean, I just need an excuse to fish. Someone says, hey, let's go fishing. Sure.
See, we talked about that on the vlog. I knew I couldn't be a guy because I'm a grumpy old man. You come on my boat, and, you're somebody I don't know, and you start acting silly and saying stuff. You
don't touch things.
I'm gonna pull up to the dock and say, "Get the heck out!"
But you get some really funny stories with some of these people, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Sometimes they share too much information with you.
Yeah, and you meet some interesting characters. Like I tell a lot. I mean, if when people go fishing with me, I got a lot of stories now from all my years of fishing now, and then also retail. I've got 20-some years of retail. I got a million retail stories. I should have written a book about all the stupid stuff that I've seen in retail. I'd probably be a million.
I did a few years of retail. I was, I've got a few years, and that would be for a fun conversation in itself, right there.
I'd probably be a millionaire with the number of books that I could write. But but especially with fishing, man, I remember these three guys. It was early on in my guiding stuff, and it sounds like a bar joke. It was a white guy, a black guy, and a Hispanic. So they get on my boat, and they're all friends. They were probably in their late 40s or maybe mid 50s. They've all three have known each other since they were toddlers. So they grew up knowing each other, and man, the racial slurs that they were slinging back and forth was ridiculous. I probably heard every single thing you could call somebody, and they're good friends. They're just joking back and forth. And it was about halfway through the trip, they finally asked. They said, "Hey, is that camera running the whole time?" And it wasn't, but I wanted to give them a hard time. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm recording everything." So, oh no, you can't.
You didn't see the guide. There's a price for deleting this stuff. I'm happy to accommodate.
Yeah.
They were like, no, you can't put this stuff on. They're gonna think we're a bunch of racists. And I was like, well, let's see how well you tip.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
We got George. Yeah, George Estrada. So George is a local guy down here. What's up, George? He's been doing good on the Nueces. So the Nueces River is further south. That's going towards like Corpus Christi Lake. So the guys down there, they've been doing pretty good. It's just I don't want to drive that far. I just don't.
That's a haul, man. That is a drive to go drive all the way down there, fish all day, and then drive all the way home. Find some place to clean the fish because they got no facilities down there.
Yeah, they don't. Yep. That is true. They have no facilities.
How far south do you go with that? I know Nueces crosses over at Labani Park. I'm not familiar with anything on the Nueces between there and the lake.
So the Nueces
and then everything
is
south of that's like a redfish thing to me, as far as I know.
Yeah. So the Nueces is 59 Bridge, and if memory serves correct, it's actually off of exit 59. Does that sound right, John?
Oh, it's Highway 59.
Highway 50, but I think the actual exit
might be
is
59
also.
but it's Highway 59. Yeah. So you just get on that off of 37, and once you cross over the river, you just turn off and go right down. There's a ramp underneath there.
Yeah.
Hotels in the house.
Yeah. So there's no you don't have to pay to launch at that one, not like you do at Choke Canyon, but it's like one ramp. So if you got a line of people, I mean, you're gonna be there forever.
And that's the problem with the internet, right? All the old fishermen complain about, because that ramp gets packed on the weekends now when the whites are running, because somebody posts them pictures. You see him today on Facebook, right, holding up the big stringer of whites. The Oasis was good today, and tomorrow or the next Saturday, there's 50 boats down there. Got that whole place packed. But I guess the Frio, what you put in at 99 on the Frio, in the past, like last year, was like that too on the weekends, right? People were parking out on the road and stuff.
Yep. So there was we haven't seen it this year because there's no fish there. But last year, I mean, me and my buddy David, since we both guided there, we were smart. We were at the ramp at 6, so there's nobody there. You can't even see. It's so dark. And so when we're going down the river, we can't see. We're using our navionics to navigate the creek bed. So we get there super early, but then when we're leaving, I think the longest it took me on one trip was 45 minutes just to be able to get my boat back on my trailer because I had to wait. And there's you exit and there's all these cars parked on the highway and it's a joke. It gets pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. But this year it hasn't gotten that bad yet. But at least with the Frio, you know, if you don't want to launch at 99, you can still launch from say Mason's Point. But it is a bit of a drive, either Mason's or say Callahan. Callahan's probably the safer one.
But you better have a good mapping system just to stay on that
dude.
river channel because there are trees and stumps galore in that end of the lake.
Yeah.
Trust me, I found them.
Yeah, me and my dad tried it one year, I think like 3 years ago, because there's no cleaning station at 99 Bridge either. You have to go back to at least the Callahan unit to go clean your fish.
Right.
And so I told my dad one year, I said, hey, well, let's just, you know, looking at the aerial view on the map, like it's not that far to 99 from Callahan. So let's try it out. So we tried it out. Of course, the map doesn't show you all the freaking trees you got to bypass. Right. So it took us about an hour, 15 minutes just to get to our fishing spot. I was like, oh, forget that. It's much easier to just launch at 99, pick your trailer back up, and then go drive to the Callahan unit to go clean. Because, it was pretty bad. There's so many freaking trees there. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. It keeps the jet skiers away, though. That and the gators.
The gators, yeah. I've seen some big gators. I think probably the biggest gator I've seen has probably been 12 feet.
Yeah, we went up in the river and saw one that I figured was about 12 feet. Big old wide back on him. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
I ran across one about that same size at the Aransas Wildlife Refuge. So I wasn't fishing or doing anything like that, but ran across that guy. I touched him.
Oh, no, I didn't do that. Hell with that. I'm going near one.
He was up underneath the pier, and they had a lot of, like, the pier was like, it had legs every like 24 inches. Like, it was really stout.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, like, you know, there's a ton of alligators. You walk out on the pier, and the pier is like 12 inches off the water. Like, it's just right there. And it had railing, so you weren't going to go anywhere. But that alligator, like, they all pile up on that pier whenever somebody walks out because they think they're going to get fed. And this dude, he was huge. He went up underneath the pier for whatever reason. I don't know what he was doing, but he went up inside the pier. He was hanging out the back end of it, like several feet. And but there wasn't anything he could do. He couldn't turn and do anything. You know, he was kind of stuck under the pier. So we saw that as a perfect opportunity and just, you know, reached down underneath the pier and grabbed his foot and were sitting there playing with him. He didn't care. He's just laying there, and there wasn't anything you could do about it anyway.
Oh, you got more cojones than I do.
Yeah. Yeah, the one we saw was in the river, and we were just on the boat. If we get near him, he'd disappear right underwater, and then he'd show up somewhere a little ways away. So it was just cool to see him.
Cool, Jojo. Thanks for the comment.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, a lot of. I was saying John the other day. I you know, it's very weird. A lot of people don't like sharing, I guess, you know, fishing spots, and like John was saying, with the internet, it can get kind of crazy or whatever. But especially with the lakes, I don't care. Like I mean, how on my YouTube I have how-tos of like how to catch redfish and how I drift fish and how I make my rigs and all this stuff. And I get clients sometimes they get on my boat and they have their own boat, and sometimes I see them like hiding their phone and they're marking spots, and I see them and I tell them, I said, dude, mark it. I don't care. I said, just because the fish are here today doesn't mean they're here tomorrow. I mean, they move around.
They have tails. They can swim.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no worry whatsoever. And even if that's the case, like if I come back like next week and you're in this spot, it's not my spot. You know, it's an open lake. You know, first come, first serve.
And so, I've got an entirely different philosophy on that. Yeah. I'm not mean. Like, I'll take somebody spot, but I'm also that guy. Like, I end up on some charter's boat, you know, like we're offshore or something like that. I will steal your coordinates if given the opportunity to do so, unless it's like a friendly deal, you know. You're taking me out someplace, something like that. You know, it's a gentleman's thing. I'm not going to do that.
Right, you charter captain.
I get on somebody else's. Right? If I get on somebody else's
Stanley
boat,
on your boat.
There's one in particular as a captain. I used to make fun of him in videos, and I stopped doing it. It was like season 1 because it was just like whatever. But there's one guy in particular in Port Aransas who, like I used to be really big about trying to steal his coordinates, like sneaking onto his boat.
So Mello, do you know Cliff Hill?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cliff, he was the first one that I fished with, me and my youngest daughter on spring break on Calaveras. And I'd fished from the bank at Calaveras, but I'd never been on there on a boat yet. And so I hired him to take me and Ashley out. And that's exactly the type of guide he was. He showed us the rigs, how to rig. He took us a spot, and not even spots where we didn't catch fish, but just showing us different spots. Hey, sometimes this is a good spot to fish. This is how you fish it. All that. And then we ended up catching 50 catfish. He cleaned them all and filleted them all for us and bagged them up. And now we're buddies. We've fished. It's been a few years now, but we have fished together many times since then. So
I've never fished with him. I have chatted with him a couple of times, but yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, he does really, really good out there. And he fishes a lot of different bodies of water. And that's one thing that, like, yeah, I'm a guy, like I guide, I take people out, but like I see some of the people you have on your channel, and some of you guys, are really, really good at finding and locating fish in different bodies of water.
That's a challenge.
And it's hard. And for me, like I just know the lakes that I fish at continuously. And anytime I go on another different body of water that I don't know, I mean, I struggle extremely hard just because I don't know the lakes. But yeah, some of the guys I've seen on your channels, it seems like, they can go into any body of water and find fish, and they're real in tune with the navionics and being able to locate fish. And I wouldn't say I'm at that level. I'm successful just in the lakes that I fish at, just because it's just years of experience, and I've just learned where to go during what time of the year, and that's kind of helped me out. But yeah, when people ask me, I have people ask and say, "Hey, can you guide me out of Medina Lake?" Hell no, because I don't know the lake.
Never fished there before.
Yeah, I fished it before. I just don't catch anything there. So basically, I tell it it's gonna be a boat ride. That's all it is.
Yeah, Canyon Lake's the same. I mean, I've fished there a lot of times, but I would never offer to guide somebody on Canyon Lake, because you can fish there 10 times and catch fish on one of those trips. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I fished Canyon Lake, I think maybe a total like 7 or 8 times now, and only one time was I successful in finding fish. And I cheated. I'll be honest, I cheated. What did I do? Hey, there's 10 boats over here. There's probably fish there. Sure enough, that's where we went. We found some fish.
The last time I did Canyon Lake was on Thanksgiving, and John gave me a ton of tips, which is one of the blessings. Like, that's one of the greatest things that I've come across with this whole YouTube thing, is that we've come across a lot of guys. You guys are a perfect example of this. I don't know what I'm doing if I get out on the lake, but if I get an opportunity to get out to like Canyon Lake, it's really nice to be able to have the advice that you guys know what you're talking about. John pointed me at some spots to go to. We went out, we checked out those spots, and they were loaded. They were stacked with fish. They were all over the fish finder. Couldn't get them to bite anything. They wouldn't take anything at all, but they were there, and I hadn't forgot that, and I appreciate you sending me to a good spot.
I didn't tell them the top secret baits you had to use to get them to bite.
Yeah. Bait stand was closed, didn't make much of a difference, but I respect and appreciate your candor.
Yeah. See, and that's why I have no problem sharing information, because again, like, the fish may not even be there the next day. They may be there and they have lockjaw and they just don't want to eat anything. It's just how it is. So when me and David went scouting, that was the last week, we found a couple spots where, on the sonar is just lit.
Wow.
And I was like, I started like just aggressively like jigging. And I'm like, man, I should be able to bow hook something.
That's what I was doing. I was trying to snag stuff towards the end of the day. I just had a big like mana lure on there. I was dropping it down and just yanking it up through the school. Got nothing.
And even like that, like, we couldn't get anything. So it's just, but it's fishing. Yeah, but that's fishing. It's fishing, not catching. That's what everybody calls it. Yeah. It's fun. I fish. Can't catch nothing. Was hoping for trout.
Where's your dock at?
He's in
where's your dock at?
He's where?
He's up in Newfoundland.
Oh,
Newfoundland? I'm like, where's your dock at? I gotta go fish.
We were talking about that a little earlier.
Right, now you gotta be cutting through the ice to fish, I think, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I like. I was saying, I don't know if I told John this story, but when I first started going to the coast on my boat offshore, You know what? And I asked, like you said, you asked, and you're hoping someone gives you, kind of like somewhere to go or whatever. I wanted to go offshore, and when I go offshore, like I'm taking my daughter, I'm taking my friend, well, I'm not taking clients or anything like that. And I just wanted to be able to go out and catch some fish. And so I asked for some, suggestions, like, hey, anyone have a recommendation where to go? And I remember this one dumbass, I'll say dumbass, but he was like, oh yeah, just go out in the ocean and just use your sonar to find a wreck site. Are you fucking kidding? You know how big the damn ocean is?
I did that once, cruising around outside of Sammy Dam out here off of Bob Hall Pier, and we ran across a structure. It was like a 5-foot piece of pipe sticking up out of the ground, and or wellhead or something that was sitting down there. And yeah, that feeling of like, oh my God.
Needle in a haystack.
Exactly. It's a needle in a haystack. Like, I can't believe we just found this thing. And something like that, like a 5-foot like structure down there on the bottom like that thing will hold fish. Like there will be stuff sitting on it.
Yeah. So I mean, thankfully, I was one guy. Thankfully, he private messaged me. He says, "Hey man, just because he watches my videos, and he was like, hey, like I watch your videos. You're great. I'm gonna give you the spot. Just don't tell anybody about it." I was like, all right, that's cool, whatever. So I've been using that same spot for 3 years now. So it's been pretty good.
Nice.
Ben, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Mr. Covarrubias has a hot date, so I totally appreciate that. Please tell your hot date we said hi, and thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben. Love being on this thing. It's fun.
Yeah, it's just fun. I don't have my refill in front of me. I wish I did, but make things a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've got. So the other reason I'm in my garage, John, I don't know if I told you, but I have a kegerator fridge out here, so I can keep filling up.
Nice.
So when we got the house, we've been living here. I think we're going on 6 years now. So when we bought it, the people who lived here, they had a fridge in the garage, which was an old fridge, and they had a fridge in the house. And the fridge in the house was a new, fairly new, maybe a year, 2 years old, and they didn't want to take it with them. They were like, "No, we're not taking this." So I was like, "Okay." So we had a guy paint the house. We paid him, but then I was like, "Hey, we're getting a new microwave, we're getting a new fridge. Do you want the fridge in the garage and do you want the microwave?" He goes, "Yeah." So we gave him that. So the fridge in the house we put in the garage, which was still new. So I turned that into a kegerator. Nice. So it holds two. Nice. It holds two kegs, and I'm like, man, that's awesome.
That's perfect.
Oh hell yeah!
That's why we have. Well, it definitely helps. Support the kids, keeps you sane. Yeah. If we're talking about kegerator.
I had my stint there for a few years when I was actually brewing my own beer, and I took one of those like chest freezers, and I turned it into a kegerator. So I would brew, keg my beer in the soda kegs, right?
Yeah.
And then I had my own kegerator. I had three taps on it. And then I
haven't gotten to that. I haven't gotten into brewing my own beer yet. I think I'm too lazy for that.
I go through hobbies, and any hobby, right? Hey, you can buy Mr. Beer, and it's only a few dollars. You can bring your own beer. Okay, I'll buy Mr. Beer, and then I'll be like, okay, now I need to do all grain, full setup. I got the old kegs that we cut the tops off, and we got the two burners, and we got the cooler with the coil, and every hobby I have, I end up doing that. Fishing, right? You could just get a cane pole and go down to the lake. No, boat, electronics, grass, all this. So yeah, I'm bad about hobbies. I can't keep a low budget hobby.
I am the exact same way, and I don't do hobbies. I'm taking that up a notch. I collect disciplines. Like, it's not even hobbies, I spend way too much time and money doing what I do to call it a hobby.
There you go.
That's funny.
Hey,
disciplines.
J&C, appreciate you guys. Cassie, it's wonderful seeing you. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out. Looking forward to next time. We're going to have some chats here off camera here in the very near future. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it, guys.
Blue collar looks like blue collar's popping smoke.
What's he saying? He's got to take off?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Kelly, we're going to be showing some pics here. Just before he takes off, we got some pictures. One of them I got from him. Here's Kelly's last weekend. He's talking about not getting the fish, but look at that. He's getting into some. But yeah, that looks a little cold for me.
That's on my bucket list right there.
To go ice fishing?
To go ice fishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done it once. Don't need to do it ever
But you
again.
live in Texas. We're supposed to hate this kind of thing.
You know what? I really don't mind the cold at all. I hate
You
the
say
heat.
that.
I mean, if I'm fishing, I don't mind the cold. If I'm not fishing, then it's probably like, yeah,
You
it's
say
probably
that.
a pain in the ass.
Go up north to Michigan or somewhere and be out there
Yeah.
when the wind's whipping across that ice and all you got on is what clothes you got. Man, I
Hey,
was a teenager at the time. It was so damn cold. I walked off that ice and said, I'm never ice fishing again. And I have never ice fished since.
oh, I gotta try it out. I've never done it before. It looks
Yeah, you gotta
fun.
try it.
Yeah, I gotta try
Look,
it out.
If you're going to try it, here's how you do it, right? And Stanley, I know you're listening too. You go up there, and they got these companies that have these shanties that they'll pull out on the ice for you, right? And they've got heaters, and they've got booze, and they got the holes pre-drilled, and you just go inside. You can be in a t-shirt and shorts and do some ice fishing. That's the way
I
to
don't.
do it.
No, I gotta do it like old school. I gotta go and just in the open, freeze my ass off. Can't feel my
Going old
fingers.
school, then you have to use a hand auger to make your hole too.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
See, I need that.
so
I need
get
that
the
whole
sweat
experience.
going, and then you'll sit down and chill and literally chill.
Yeah.
I don't know where to fall on that because I like the idea of being, let's do it old school style. But hell no, I'm not doing it old school style. And when the temperature's like this, I'm not doing that.
I wouldn't mind trying it. I gotta do it now before I'm like 70, and then I'm really not gonna want to do it.
Yeah, do it now. I'm just saying, when you can walk on the water, it's too cold to be fishing.
Small Water says I'll take 110 on a bass boat deck any day, and I'm in the same boat, dude. I live in South Texas. I love South Texas. I love it down here. The weather is just for me. We hit 91 degrees today, and I was loving every minute of it. I can do 110 any day of the week, well before I can do 40 degrees.
Oh fuck, man! But
no,
have you been in the water when it's like 110, bluebird skies, no wind?
No,
you know what's funny? Okay, so funny side story on that. You are absolutely right. However, I am going to say one thing about that. For whatever weird reason, like I can do 110 easy, no problem, all day long. I can do it way better than I can do 40 or 50 degrees. However, that having been said, for whatever reason, I can actually handle, or at least historically, I've been able to handle like being out in the water in 50 degrees in like a wetsuit. For whatever reason, I can handle that way better than I can handle being on a boat in 50 degrees.
Yeah.
See, I fishing from 50 degrees to 80 degrees. That's my comfort zone. I can I can enjoy. Below 50, it gets miserable, and above 80, it starts getting miserable for me.
Yeah. I've had some clients. So I try and stay away from the main lake during the winter time, because at least with the river, even if it's cold and say if it's windy, there's so many trees. Yeah, it's blocking you. But when I still used to do the main lake in the wintertime, man, I don't know how many trips I had where wind's blowing like 10, 12 miles per hour, which is not horrible. But when it's like 45 degrees and you're out in open water, I'm okay because I'm covered head to toe in gear. But I've had probably 10 plus times where I have these guys show up in shorts and a t-shirt. and already in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, this trip's going to be done in 30 minutes. They are not going to make it out. And if they get on the boat, I'm like, hey, aren't you guys cold? They're like, we got out of the house. It felt pretty okay. And I'm thinking, yeah, dude, but you're out in open water now with the wind hitting you. You're not going to last. Yep. And they never do. They never last. It's like 30, 45 minutes tops. And they're like, hey, man, we're good. Let's end this early. I'm like, all right, I'm still getting paid.
Can't do it anymore.
Right?
We get the exact opposite. And again, one of the things I love about being down here, I go out fishing with my uncle, and it'll be 40 degrees. And getting bait, like casting a net at 3 o'clock in the morning when it's 40 degrees out, sucks. I hate it.
Fuck.
But
hell with that.
When we're going like 50, 55, 60 miles an hour, hauling ass to get offshore, that sucks. It's cold. But you get out 80 miles, and all of a sudden it's like 80 degrees, and it's wonderful. I don't care what the cold front temperatures or anything are. It's just like you're in Hawaii all of a sudden, like you get to get away and in the tropical conditions for just a little bit amount of time to, get a little sanity.
Yeah. Then you start driving back and you start freezing again.
Yep. You got to start putting on the gear all over again.
Yep.
That's funny. Bass get grumpy and angry. Yeah.
Oh, real quick here. So, I got one other picture. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. So my father-in-law has been helping me out with a whole lot of projects around the house. And the other day we took a day off, and this was his day. He just no.
Nice.
This wasn't even the day off. He showed up late to come help me out on the house. Not really.
This is why he was late.
But this is why he was late. Yeah, it's because
Nice.
he was out there at Packery Channel catching some fish before he made it out here. Nice. Which I'm kind of like, on the one hand, I've got to be. I know he's listening in, so Rich, I'm giving you a hard time. I'm just busting your balls, but like on the one hand, I'm like, dude, come on. Let's get to work. It's time to work. But on the other hand, I'm like, nope, I absolutely respect and appreciate this. I'm jealous is what it comes down to. I'm just jealous that I'm not out there doing this with him. I got the same call from him this morning. He was telling me, or this afternoon, he called and told me, he's like, hey, we had some other things, weren't able to work today. And I'm like, no problem. That's fine. And then he starts telling me about how he went out fishing and he caught a bunch of gaff top and he was telling me all the conditions. And I'm sitting there listening to him going like, man, this was my Monday. I just had a really hard work day, and you're telling me about all this fishing that I missed out on. I just really don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But I had to show the pics because he's getting he's getting into it. He's tuned in now. He's starting to get some good fish.
Robert says he doesn't mind the freezing temps on the water. I do mind them. I don't want to be freezing. Like I said, 50, 80, that's my window. If it's above 80, I get grumpy about being out in the heat. If it's below 50, what's funny though is you could be out there and the cold is seeped into your feet, your toes are cold, your hands are cold, you're getting a good chill on, and then all of a sudden you get a hit, right? And bring in a big cat or something, get a big fish on the rod, you have forgotten all about being cold, right? All of a sudden you just warmed up completely. That's one thing that's cool about fishing.
Everything except the toes.
Hey, real quick.
If my toes are cold, man, that's when I get miserable. If I can feel my toes, man, that's when I start hating life real quick.
Real quick here, I'm gonna zoom in on myself. I just want to show we got swag in the house, and I just had to say, I'm sporting it, man. I still got my swag going.
All right.
Nice. So do you guys have so I actually went to we were at the rodeo and they did a Yeti cup for me and they were able to put my logo on there. Do you guys have anything that you guys use for like merchandising or anything?
There's a couple folks here in town. You probably know them. They do stuff for Fin Addicts.
All right.
But I can George. What is George's last name? If you're watching this, George, apologize. But he does glasses like this glass I'm drinking out of right here. It's got A&J Outdoors on it, right? Etched.
Right.
Glasses. I've gotten hats from him. He does T-shirts. So, why are you getting in business or something?
No, so I went to like I said, we were at the rodeo, and I'm trying to move to a place with more light, and I was able to get some guys to do a Yeti cup for me, and so I just posted them on my YouTube and then my fishing page and asked, hey, anybody interested? And I had some people that were interested in buying some stuff. So nothing crazy. Like I don't need like 100 cups, but
right.
something that could at least be able to offer to some people.
Right.
So I need to start.
Back when I was doing A&J Outdoors, when I had the tackle business, I learned one thing: hats, T-shirts, and all that was mainly marketing, right?
Yeah.
And so it was built into the marketing budget. So I gave away a lot of hats and T-shirts and decals because get people out there wearing and talking about it, right? So I've never looked at this kind of stuff as something I make money off of. It's just something if I want to get the name out there, I can push it with hats and T-shirts and stuff like that.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and myself, I do Spreadshirt, and I do that as a means of just making it available for anybody who wants. If they want a sweater, I do some artwork. I don't talk about it too much, but I do some stuff like this here. And so I did some artwork. I put it on some merch stuff through Spreadshirt. just in case, if somebody likes that, somebody asks about the painting, they're like, hey, can I get something like that? Yeah, go get yourself a shirt, something like that. I haven't invested heavily into anything. I'd like to do that. I'm looking into it. The investment's pretty big. I need to be able to come up with like 10, 20 grand or something in order to start doing it the way I would want to do it. I would want quality, material. I want something that people are going to enjoy wearing, not just because they want a picture painted on there that's decent.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of in the same boat. Like if I get something that I'm gonna want to get like my logo on or something, like I want it to be good quality, not just a real cheap shirt that's gonna tear apart the first time you throw it in the wash, and be gone. Like I want some good quality with it.
Yeah, and that's it's not hard to come by, but man, it takes a lot of legwork. It takes a lot of research that you have to put into it, and then at the end of the day, when you have that product, you have to warehouse it. You have to provide customer service for that product, and that's like one product. Imagine doing that with imagine if you wanted to make that a blue shirt in addition to a black shirt. Now you've just doubled a lot of that work.
That's what I did. I had 4 different colors, 5 different sizes.
The sizes.
And I did it all out of my house, right? Because it was an online store. So I'm selling the ones I was selling. That's how I'm selling them. So I'm the shipping department, I'm the labeling department, I'm the packing. I did it all. Got all the instruments going at once.
John, for years, you had your own rods, right?
Well, I was doing the Pro Angler rods. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Still use the crap out of them too. Still got them.
Peter, I appreciate that. If anybody wants to see what I'm talking about, he just posted a link to my merch. Peter, thank you. I'm going to get you back. You're helping me out there, man, with the plug. Thank you.
Yeah.
So John, I told you on the last chat. So that the company Runkle that sent me that spinning reel.
I like those guys.
You like? Yeah. So they reached out to me through YouTube, and they said, hey, do you want to do a product review and a box opening and put it in your channel and whatnot? I said, yeah, that's fine. Let me go ahead and do that. So I started. They sent me a Runkle spinning reel, and I've been using that for the white bass here, and I like it. It's a pretty good rod. Pretty good reel. And so they actually emailed me last week, and they said, hey, we're pretty happy with our first partnership. We want to send you a bait caster now. So now they're sending me a bait caster. Nice. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Hey,
nice.
If they can send me an entire arsenal of reels,
I'll
promo the crap out of that.
Yeah, I think I've showed it on one of the lives or something. I got that Pulsino collapsible travel rod.
Yeah,
they sent me that. Said,
hey,
check this out. I've always wanted a travel rod to throw in a suitcase if I'm going somewhere. I just never, pulled the trigger and bought one because you look at them, it's like, it doesn't look all that quality. So they sent me this thing. I put a reel on it, and I went to Calaveras, that catfish video I just put out.
Yeah,
all those were caught on that Pulsino collapsible rod. So it's won me over. I'm not going to take it to the coast and try to catch, a big bull red or something. But for anything around here, bass, catfish, crappie, white bass, whatever, it's perfectly fine to use for that kind of stuff. So, yeah, happy with it. So I still got to put together the review for them. But
I will say, on the other side of that, you took that you did it the smart way. So I did the same kind of review for the Pulsino stuff, and I did take it to saltwater. That was Savannah's rod. And that thing got destroyed quick. It was not. It had a hard time with the saltwater.
Yeah, I saw that video, John. Those are some big ass channels you got out of it.
They were really big. I was surprised. I think biggest was probably at least 7 or 8 pounds. They were fat.
Yeah. So for that lake, Browning Lake, that's about average.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like you were talking about, for Calaveras Lake, that's pretty good size.
Yeah, it's changed Calaveras because you could go in there and catch a whole ton of 14 to 16 inches, and just constant. But now it's real slow, like Browning, but they're nice big fat fish.
Yeah, they are. There were some good sized fish you got out of there. And I've never tried that fishing style that you're doing, that slip cork with the punch bait. Yeah, I've never tried that before.
It's fun. It's fun, especially if you got kids.
Yeah,
youngsters on the boat, they love watch that float just disappear.
Yeah,
whack them.
Yeah, the catfish, I'm more like the drift fishing style. It's kind of like my deal.
Yeah. No, I enjoy that if I'm going after blues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Enjoyed it. Yeah, so there's a video out there if you haven't seen it, right? I was fishing on Calaveras Lake, and as you can tell from the conversation, I've caught some fish. So if you haven't
You
seen
got
it,
some?
go check it out.
I'm still trying to figure out how you get a drone out there without them giving you crap about it.
That was before they put up the signs and all that. No drones. That video is like 3 years old now.
The whole catch is not to get caught.
I haven't done it since. So
Well, so it's funny. So at Brawny Lake, they have signs, and they have signs now saying that you can't operate a drone between 0 to 400 feet. I think is what it says. And it's like, well, you got to operate it to get over 400
yeah,
feet.
to get over 400, but you're not supposed to be. There's a legal height you can only go so far too. So I think that's probably why they said that, to keep you from going at all, really. And that's what it is. So we got power plants at both those lakes. Those are critical infrastructure.
Yep.
So you're not supposed to fly drones, photograph, or film over critical infrastructure. So that's kind of just like back when 9/11 and all that occurred shortly after. You used to be able to fish right up by the dam on these lakes. And then all of a sudden they got these buoys now. You can't get up to the dam because it's critical infrastructure, and they're trying to protect it from the bad guys.
Same thing with the ferries in Port Aransas.
Yeah.
So Stanley, you said you've never fished Calaveras Lake, right?
I have not. No.
So there's a spot called the Wall, right? So basically, there's like a long channel, and it stretches. I don't know what it is, maybe like a mile. So it's a long channel that they have built. And what it does, it sucks in water, and it takes it down into the power plant, and that's what they use to circulate to keep it cool. But on the end of it, they have it blocked off. There's a concrete wall, and they have like barriers, and the barriers are just wide enough that you can actually park a boat in between each barrier. And we used to be able to fish that for, since the 70s. And about 5 years ago, I think they finally closed it off. And what it was is kayakers were going to the wall, and they were putting their kayak over the wall, and then they were kayaking to the plant itself.
Now they're in the power plant.
Yeah. And so it like I said, it's infrastructure. So if somebody wanted to, if they wanted to blow it up, they could.
Yep.
And it would cause a lot of issues. So they shut that wall down, and that pissed off a lot of fishermen.
It fenced it all up. You can't get up there anymore.
Yeah, so that pissed off a lot of people.
We have a similar one with the water plant down here.
Yeah.
Damn kayakers.
Well, they ultimately ended up doing it, but then it was funny because a lot of people wanted protest, and they said they wanted to start boycotting the lakes, and they wanted to email CPS and start making all these issues. And I commented on there. I'm like, guys, they don't care.
No.
For all they care, if they want to, they could shut the lake down.
Yep.
They don't need. Yeah, they own it. They don't need people fishing it.
Owns those lakes. They have a contractor that runs those parks, but those lakes are there to cool the power plants. If they want to, they shut those parks down, get out, and they give you crap about the fish and all that. They just got to cool the power plant. So
so I used to tell people, hey, cool your shit, 'cause you're gonna ruin it for everybody.
Well, gentlemen, my apologies. I'm afraid we are running towards the end of this. Just before we do get to our 60-minute mark, though, John, you were letting us know what you got coming up. You got some exciting and interesting things. Anything else you need to inform everybody before we get this
so I'm going to have a review of that collapsible rod coming out, so check that out. I've taken 2 weeks off of doing the vlogs on my other channel, so hopefully this week I get back in the groove and get the vlog and podcast going too. So both of those should come out this next week.
Mello, OCD Fishing, what have you got coming up for us, sir? What can we expect to see from you?
So at least for me, just hopefully some more fishing videos. Hopefully videos where we're actually catching fish. The one thing I've always done, at least for my channel, if I take people out, and even if we don't catch anything, which is extremely rare, I'll still post that video, because you know what? At the end of the day, it is fishing, and short of,
I agree with it.
Yeah, short of using dynamite, you can't get fish on the boat, but I'll post everything up. So yeah, we'll have some more fishing videos coming up, and like I said, I have this partnership going on with Runkle I'm not sponsored by them. You know, they just send me the gear. So now they're sending me a bait cast reel. I'm not an expert in bait cast using a bait caster. I've got one. I don't use it that much, but I'm looking. I'm really excited to be able to get it, use it. I got to get a rod, and so hopefully I'll have like a box opening, and then I'll be taking that rod out and probably using it for the white bass for the little bit of the season that we got left over, and then I'll start taking it out to the main lakes. But then beyond that, if anyone wants to go out on the lakes and just have a good time, I'm real good with kids. I like to be engaged. Yeah, I like to be engaged with my customers. I think that's more the experience. Like, I think, being engaged with your customers and just having a good time with them is the whole point of the trip, and just making sure they're enjoying themselves. And then catching fish is a bonus. And I like doing that. And I think that's really helped my guiding business. Because I have a lot of repeat clients. And then just with YouTube, people are able to see kind of like how my trips go. They see the good trips, they see the bad trips. They don't see me just posting pictures of a table full of fish. It's they see everything in between, and that's real. That's how it goes. But yeah, just expect to see more videos coming out like that.
Man, I'm excited. You have a wonderful channel. I love the work that you do. For anybody who's interested, there is a link in the chat down there to Melo's channel. Check him out. It's got great stuff. If you're interested in doing some fishing for white bass, you're looking for redfish, calaveras, brownig, all these lakes that we have around the San Antonio area, check him out. Obviously, if you're going to have some guide stuff coming up, he's the gentleman that you need to be speaking to. I have this week I'm going to be dropping a video. I'm going to be doing a channel trailer for our upcoming 5th season of fishing videos here on YouTube. Pretty excited about that. I'm going to be doing a couple other series. I filmed some videos. I'm stockpiling them. I'm ready to start pushing those guys out. We're going to be starting our new 5th season in March. Not sure what day, but we're starting in March. Look forward to that. And that's all. Gentlemen, thank you so much, Melo. I really appreciate you joining us today. John, as always, it is a pleasure, sir. Everybody in the chat, guys, really, really appreciate having you guys with us every single week. Makes my day. I had a rough day, and I cannot thank you enough for coming here and keeping us company. Had a great day, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one next week. Good luck. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, guys. Good night.
Hey, guys. Y'all there. Peace.